Welcome to Volumes. Today, I have the pleasure to be sitting down with Yasmin J, a filmmaking force that tells stories that are literally out of this world. If you do not know who Yasmin is, please take a moment and do your research. And believe me, your mouth will be on the floor with how decorated Yasmin is. Let's just say this conversation is one that you do not want to miss. I hope you all enjoy it. Thanks. Hey, so first off, thank you so much for coming and doing this. I know you're very busy, but I really do appreciate you coming onto Volumes and telling a little bit about your story.
Yeah, of course. I was honestly so excited when I got the email. I was like, little me. But no, for
Yasmin.
real.
Oh no, it's moving. It's moving.
Oop.
It started to pan. I did so much like research on you, and I'm like, it actually made me a little nervous because I'm like, you did so much. And like, I usually like overstudy something, like if I'm about to do something or prepare for something. So
Yeah.
coming into this, I'm like, you have really did like the work.
I'm screaming. I mean, I appreciate it. I know I'm a little Googleable or whatever, but at the end of the day, though, I am still, a work in progress.
You're very Googleable. That's a
Ooh!
great word. Okay, so we have about 40-ish minutes, so I want to hop right into some things so we can get to like the big chunks that I really want to cover today on you, if that sounds good.
That sounds wonderful. I'm gonna just pop my headphones off. Just
Okay,
a,
yeah, of course.
there you go. All right.
Okay, so first off, y'all, me and Yasmin, we met in South Carolina at a premiere. I think that was 2 years ago. I think it was like 2 years
Right.
ago.
Yeah, it's getting up there 2 years ago. Off
Yes.
brand.
And we met after the premiere and Yasmin approached me and was like, I really enjoyed this. I would love to work. And usually when you hear someone say that, that doesn't happen. Like they might say it in that moment because it's fun to say, but then it might just, go to whatever. But me and Yasmin have like stayed in contact since then and been bouncing some ideas off of each other. So we have remained, having that communication.
Right.
So let's go back, okay?
Okay.
So Yasmin, tell everyone like where you're from and kind of a little bit about your upbringing and stuff.
Cool. Okay. So my story actually begins in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I'm a Midwesterner, and like I grew up with like Midwestern parents and everything. So those are the values I have. And I love corn, go corn huskers, all that. But then of course, like we moved to South Carolina shortly after one of my grandparents passed. And my mom, she wanted to be closer to her sister. So then that's how we ended up in South Carolina. And it's been this like weird blessing that just keeps evolving in reason. Just because South Carolina, and especially where we were in Columbia, we're right by like Fort Jackson. So there was like a huge diverse like group of kids that I grew up with. Like my kindergarten class was super diverse, and North Springs Elementary, they did a great job with like just teaching us about who we are. Because I grew up in I actually was able to be a part of the African American Appreciation Club. And yeah, and I have goosebumps just thinking about it. But like I learned so much about who I was, like, ethnicity wise, but also just like connecting with the people around me on different levels. And, I've been lucky to have so many great teachers too, because that was a huge part of my upbringing. My second grade teacher was the only was like the biggest reason why I even identified myself as a writer,
Hmm.
because she would see me draw like storybooks and doing my own illustrations all the time. And of course, like I would be writing with it. And
Yeah.
there was one day at school where I actually got in trouble for bringing toys to school because, I mean, I'm just a toy person. Like I love dolls and playing with them. And that was like the earliest stages of me being a director in a way.
Hmm.
Just because each toy had like their own name and their own story dynamic that I would always reenact in different ways. And she noticed that. So she was like, "Well, no, my student's not in trouble. She's a storyteller. She's a writer. This is what she does." And I was like, "Whoa," like it just opened up my mind. And since then, I just kind of took off running and became really opinionated and have taken it very seriously, you know? So yeah, that's like a good overview of my story and how I started.
I love that. That kind of made me teary-eyed a little bit, like when you were talking about your teacher, because I think for artists in general, it's so important to have someone that
Hmm.
sees you before you see you. You feel me? It's like, because
Huge.
you could be going through life thinking you're just doing stuff to just be doing it, but it's like, no, like maybe this is gonna lead me to directing or something, like me wanting to play with these things and come up with these scenarios with the dolls and stuff. And I think it's interesting to think about like what you would have been, say if that teacher wouldn't have said that. You
Yeah,
know, like if the teacher would have just been like, okay, yes, Yasmin is in trouble. It's like you don't know what that would have done, like to your confidence in pursuing what you're pursuing, you know?
100%. Yeah, especially as like a little black girl,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what would have happened if she never did that. Because like I think about that moment somewhat often, you know?
Mhm.
Like if I'm not thinking about the movies that I was watching all the time, especially during summer break,
Yeah.
because no curfew.
Yes.
I would be putting on those 80s movies on rerun, okay?
Yes.
But like I don't know, just thinking about that moment, it really did give me so much confidence. It really was like the thing that like put the batteries in my back, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I love that. I love that. You okay, you talked a little bit about summer break and 80s films.
hmm.
What are some of your favorites that you like to like revisit or turn on?
So, like, my top four movies, like, you
Yeah,
don't like that?
yeah. You give me your top four.
Which, I mean, okay, the fourth slot is always alternating, but there's three that are somewhat consistent.
Okay, okay, okay.
Or maybe just two, I don't know. But so definitely first off, the movie that I would be rewatching, staying up all night, would be Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon.
Oh, oh yes. I think I've seen you share that on your story.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen you share that on your story. So I know this is truth. This is truth.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Bruce Leroy, the legendary Bruce Leroy.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, I don't know what it was about that movie that just like really like resonated with me, but it was so creative
Yes.
and it has
Yes.
enough action, enough romance. It really had a little bit of everything
Yes.
along with
Yes.
swag. So, yeah.
It's like a based off of what I've seen in terms of the films that you make, it's kind of like this magic to it. Because
Yeah.
your stuff lives in a realm of its own. It's
Hmm.
kind of like when I was doing my deep dive and stuff, I realized that the common thread is like your stuff seems futuristic, but it also seems from the past. It's like it's in a different sphere, it seems like. Which would you say that that's what you try to give or
That that is on the money.
okay,
Yes.
perfect.
On the
Perfect.
money. Cause and
It
yeah, that's
yeah,
exactly why it feels old and yet new. Cause like, I mean,
yeah,
going back to The Last Dragon, like
yeah.
there's glow that Bruce Leroy is like on the path to obtaining. And
Yes.
whenever you see the glow, it feels like it's this ancient thing, but it also has this neon that makes it feel like it's
Yes.
new. I just love those types of choices and textures. So I try my best to harvest it and looks like I achieved it.
Yes,
So
you've achieved it. And I have to say that's an art because I feel like in this realm of filmmaking, in this world, some people try to pinpoint something where it's like, okay, I want the people to feel this. But I'm gonna be honest, if the heart of it isn't there, the people are not gonna feel it.
hmm.
But I think what I gather from you as a filmmaker, you're very sure of what you're doing, but the work that you're doing behind the scenes shows in what you're doing in front of the scenes. It
Mm.
like I could tell that it's like it's very strategic, but it does come natural to you. So
Mm.
I do want to ask you this with your style and the things that kind of keep you interested in this realm of Afrofuturism. And I
Hmm.
do want you to check something out. That's in that realm. That's I'll tell you about that later. That's besides the point. But
Okay.
it's in that realm. Um, What made you so intrigued with that realm of filmmaking and those stories?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I give a lot of credit to my parents because I didn't realize just like how different they were in their
Mhm.
like way of thinking and like approach to life because they could have been any other like Southern family that's like we're gonna keep it by the book, praise
Yep.
the Lord, go to
Hmm.
school, take your ass to sleep. They could have been very
Yes.
straightforward like that.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I said, I put an emphasis on the Midwestern background because genuinely, like, they've been around a bunch of different people and they have never limited themselves on what they can enjoy, what they like. Like, my
Hmm.
dad, he does DJing and he would mix hip hop with rock music all the time, you know?
Okay. That makes, I feel like when you have that exposure as a kid, you can fly freely in those things,
Yeah,
you know?
especially with the creative side, because like even though that like my mom, she works in healthcare, like she's
Hmm.
very creative. She's a Pisces. She's very dreamy and poetic. So like, but even like with their taste in movies, like my mom, some of her favorite movies are Napoleon Dynamite,
Love that.
Office Space, right? Oh my
Love
God.
it.
I'm sorry. I'm like thinking about like the little quotes of like, "Kid, shut up." Like, it's like what the heck? But Napoleon Dynamite, Office Space, Wizard of Oz, and the
Oh,
original Annie musical.
okay. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit, you have this really cool master mix and mashup of inspiration. You got the music, you got
Yeah.
the dreamy nature with the Wizard of Oz and the dreaming and the different worlds.
Hmm.
Uh, I can see that. I can see that as a through line.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's because
Sure.
like music, it's so funny because like I don't necessarily want to be a musician, although
Hmm.
they always say like directors just want to be musicians, musicians just want to be directors,
Ah,
athletes just want to be musicians. Like it's this whole thing, but for me, like I just have such a love for music because I feel like its methodology, its approach mirrors how my mind works for sure.
mhm.
Especially with like the different imagery like that just comes up, especially in hip hop, because you
Yep.
know, that's huge for me.
Yes.
Because I feel like most of my inspiration really does come from music. Like, although obviously there's a lot of films
Mhm.
and images in that way, but I do start off with like making a playlist when it comes to like writing my scripts and
Yes.
yeah, you can track, where I am going story-wise with my music. You feel me?
Yes. And you say it like you're saying that. I literally was watching a film last night and
Hmm.
I looked at my husband and I was like, movies are manipulative because it was a sad moment and they threw some music on top of it. Like, and I'm like, no, this is bringing out, this is making me sadder. But it's a story being told, but you really don't lock into that stuff unless you're either acting or you're a filmmaker. You're looking at all of these pieces when you're watching a film. But
Yes.
I realize how much the music plays a part in that storytelling.
Hmm.
Um, okay, to pivot a little bit,
All
in
right.
my research, I saw that, of course, you were very schooled as well. So you're a graduate of Warford. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. Warford.
Wofford.
Wofford. I'm
Yeah,
very
no, you're
country.
good.
I'm very country.
You're so
Waffle.
good. Everybody says that, or like they'll be like close to saying waffle.
Waffle. Waffle College.
Waffle College.
Waffle. Wofford. Wofford College.
Yes. Yeah, you got
And
it.
you did a summer stint with the Yale Drama Summer Program, correct?
Hmm.
I have a cheat sheet because I have many notes. I was like, okay, I don't want to mess anything up.
No,
So
you're
tell
so
me
good.
how that was in terms of forming you who you are today and with your artistry.
100%. Also, okay, where do we start? So basically with Wofford, I didn't even imagine myself going to a school that was like that prestigious and that focused on scholars just because
Mhm.
it's not like I'm like over here like I'm so stupid. It's just more like genuinely I'm just like I know I'm so creative and like I don't really have any interest in doing math or science, you
Yep,
know?
yep.
So I'm like, what does like where do I go? But I actually kind of landed in that space just because of how I was in high school and some of my IB teachers, they went to Wofford and my
Okay.
mock trial sponsor, Joseph Bias, he's an attorney who went to Wofford and he
Okay.
was also a person of color. So, like both of the teachers that went to Wofford, they were both black men and I'm like, "Oh, so I should be able to fit in." And then I look up and I'm like,
Yes,
"Wait,
yes.
predominantly white school. Got it, got it, got it." And it was so funny because, of course, like, I don't know, it's just like, I'm gonna just kind of hyper speed it. But basically, whenever I was in that space, I didn't know where I was gonna fit in. I just knew that they gave me a merit scholarship, and it was a huge confirmation of like where I should be. So,
Yes.
right. So I just locked into that feeling. And I had to do a very similar thing whenever it came to going into high school, where I went to a school that was out of zone. So I was starting off with a whole fresh group of people, and I'm like, okay, so how am I going to present myself? How am I going to connect with people? Okay, I'm just gonna be myself. I'm gonna go to these spaces and be open. So I had the same approach with Wofford, and what that ultimately led to was like a very consistent friend group of, diverse people. Love my Wofford crew big time. And then I was skateboarding outside of the art building with Mackenzie. Um, and of course, that's what we're doing freshman year. I like freshly cut my hair, and I'm like, yeah,
I
let's go
love it.
skateboarding. So, and while we were skateboarding, like there's only less than 8% black people on this campus. So it's like
Yes,
two black
yes.
girls skateboarding in front of the arts building. And this professor, she comes out and she's like, you're like an artist, right? And I was like, huh? Because I never saw myself as an artist, like full on, because I never took
Yeah.
any art classes, like since kindergarten. I didn't take any art classes, and it wasn't on purpose. It was just that my schedule got stacked with other things. And
Yeah.
I really sat with what she was saying and thought about it. And I'm like, I should pursue art and, study it
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
And from there, I was able to learn how to articulate like different art compositions, learn formal qualities, and to be able to lock into like what is an artist's practice and what is an artist process.
Mm-hmm.
And, the business side of things too, like having an artist statement, applying for grants. I got all of that from Wofford, and I'm so grateful for that experience because of that. And honestly, going to a smaller PWI, not only was I able to learn how to be around people who weren't necessarily just like me, which, now in the real world, I mean, film is also a predominantly white industry,
Yeah.
predominantly white industry, PWI. But for real though, like being in that space, like I felt more comfortable to be able to like still present myself as who I am. Like I still dyed my hair pink. I was still listening to A$AP Rocky,
Yeah. Yeah.
doing my thing. I wasn't going to like code switch who I was and compromise who I was just because of the space. And I was able to like really be focused on like my evolution as a creative just because it was a smaller school too. So
Mhm.
you were able to walk that campus maybe 3 times within 2 hours, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So very small, but like being able to go to a school that wasn't necessarily known for the arts, but had all the resources for the artist,
Mm.
major cheat code. And yeah, so that, yeah, and being in that space, that space that is known to be a prestigious academic space really did give me a lot of confidence whenever it came to like applying to that Yale summer drama program.
Mm-hmm.
Because in my heart of hearts, and I get that some people they will agree, some people won't, but whenever I graduated, I was like, I don't want to go to graduate school. I know what I want to do. I
Yep.
know that it's a creative field. I have to put in those hours. I have to be making movies. Like, this is what I have to do. So, and it's not that you go to graduate school, you can't do those things. It's just that for me, in my path, I felt more sure of myself if I was outside of an institution. So I was like, but what's something that could give me that like refined skill that made me more confident as a director? Because, while at Wofford, I learned how to do a lot of screenwriting
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I learned like a lot of how to do that type of structure on the paper, on the page, but like how do you do that with actors? How do you talk to them? And that's whenever I applied to the Yale thing. And then I got in, I was like, what? It was awesome. And then, going to that program, it taught me so much. And literally, I think about like, I had a dedicated notebook, a composition book for the entire trip, and it did end up getting filled. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all 80 pages were written on, but it's funny that I haven't really opened that because all of it is still up here. It really is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I can flip through those pages and I'll look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, I still think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And certain methods to like get your actors not only like acclimated into a space and charge the scene for them, but also understanding like the practical things. Because it was a practical approach to directing. That's like the whole class name. But
Hmm.
so the practical things were like how to do intimacy coordinating and how do you negotiate deals with like other department heads, like how do you talk to your lighting technician, things like that, and like blocking. But yeah, all of that ultimately has led me to be a stronger writer director because I have a deep appreciation for story, but I also have a deep appreciation for the people that help me convey that story
Uh-huh.
and then being able to communicate those things as best as possible. Because at the end of the day, you're making something that starts off in your head behind my eyes, and I'm
Yes.
asking for someone to reach behind there and see the same thing.
Yes.
It's a whole
Yes.
process. Being able to be an artist has helped me be able to really like lock into like how do I get more specific about that vision and how do I correct it if someone's like, hey, like you said that you wanted something earthy, here it is. And then I can communicate why is it not effective, not whether if it's good or bad, but literally is it effective and separate it from that person that's trying to help me, because that's what it is. It's a generosity thing. So yeah.
Yeah, you said something there, like when you were saying the thing about literally when you're making something with a team, you being in the position you're in, you're telling other people, okay, I have an idea here, and I know
Hmm.
what it looks like, and I know what it feels like, but I'm trying to get this from here to here, like in front of us all. And
Yeah.
I think the only way to be successful in that is, like you said, coming on the actor side of things, understanding them, really making your set feel safe. And
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, being in a space of working on different sets before, right?
Right.
Nothing is better and no better work is done unless myself and the director are in tune.
Yep.
Or it's like, okay, I know I can go over to this director and say, hey, I have a suggestion, or hey, I don't think that I would be doing this in this moment, or why did I turn this way? I think I would actually turn this. It could be as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
And you have certain directors that aren't willing to pivot or not willing to even be like, okay, I hear you. And then you have those amazing directors that are like, okay, let me get down with you. Are you good? Okay, how you feeling in this moment? And I gather that you're that type of director on a set. Yeah?
Yeah, not to
Yeah.
give myself my own flowers, but to be for real, like, because
Yeah.
the last film, because like with Girl Talks to God, I was the subject, so I'm like kind of like doing the mental
Yes.
checklist.
And I watched that, by the way.
Oh, nice.
I watched that in my deep dive, and I was very impressed with the cinematography and
Hmm.
like you being in that space where I know you were directing yourself, right? You were directing yourself. My
Yeah.
question about that, and I know this is a little side story, but because you brought it up,
Yeah, yeah.
for that, did you do everything with that? Like, were you doing the DPing, the directing? Like, were you in there by yourself or did you have a team with you?
So that was actually one of the first productions that I did where it wasn't just me.
Okay.
Because, like for the mixed media short film, Giant Mama Talk, you
Yes.
know, now that was me. I was doing the
Okay.
camera, voice, editing, animation, all that. But whenever I got out of school, the only thing that I was really lacking on, other than like, wanting to boost up my directing skills, was like, dang, I haven't worked with like a production crew yet.
Uh-huh.
So shout out to Michael Leach for helping me produce that short film. He was the DP and he brought in a lot of like the film bar community members to help us out. And like, I mean, what was interesting was like me and Michael, we were like working out the shot list together. And we were using different like reference images and
Mhm.
like that was really fun. But I also it wasn't like in that moment, but like before that, I was like, I do not love cinematography because I'm just not a camera person like that. Like I like to be able to have certain moments where I'm like, it has to be this. I see it so clearly. But if we're talking
Yes.
about like the in-between stuff, I'm like,
Yes.
get that DP in here, do
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
thing. Like, and that's how I like to collaborate when it comes to like camera. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm gonna let them cook, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. It
Yeah.
was what I loved about it. It was like, I'm always a big fan of storytelling, and this is another through line for you. You're very intimate with I love just those pieces that are intimate. You feel like you could be there like a fly on the wall as well.
Yeah.
Um, I think for the longest, films were always very busy and just like,
Hmm.
okay, a lot of moving parts, a lot of this and a lot of that. But I fall in love with the pieces where it's like, okay, who is this person?
Yep.
Like, what we doing? Like, what
How
they
we
got going
feeling?
on? Like, what we doing? So it's like I see that that's something that you've talked about before. Intimacy, identity, human connection.
Hmm.
And something that continues to show its face in your stuff is grief. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. What is your, if you feel comfortable sharing with that, what is your connection with the grief concept or idea, would you say?
So whenever it comes to grief, like I mean, not to sound dramatic about it, but I feel like I've known grief my whole life. Like it's like in the
Mhm.
back seat of my car type beat.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily like scare me, you know? And I say that because I didn't even realize it was like somewhat of like a unique relationship that I have to grief because
Mhm.
I remember there was one class where this guy, he was talking about like, yeah, whenever I was like 6, I didn't know that dying was a thing. And then whenever I learned about it, it freaked me out and like I couldn't sleep for like a whole week.
Yeah.
And I was looking at him, I'm like, oh, well, I did not have that experience. I was
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
like, and it's one of those things where it gets very hairy very quickly just because, like, on a personal level, I grew up with like only like I started off with like a grandfather and like I grew up with two grandfathers. One was a bit distant and the other one, he was present, but then around 6, like he passed away.
Oh.
And like in living in that house, like my parents, they were still very good at like being present and active with us because I don't necessarily remember days of like them being like out of it because of depression or because of grief.
Mhm.
But what I do know is that, we went through it as a family, like processing that. It's always informed like how I move in my day to day because I think that as a kid, it gave me a lot more empathy because I didn't know if somebody lost their granddad, or
Yeah.
like thinking about like how long life is and like how short it is at the same time. I'm like, I don't want to waste my time. I take my time very
Yeah.
seriously.
Hmm.
Even in my rest days, it's still me taking it very seriously, because it's important to take care of yourself so you can
Yeah.
have a longer day, in the future. And I think that that's always just like where my mind has gone. So I've never thought of grief as like a this like domineering dark cloud that haunts people. It's more like it's just this visitor who comes in and you have to be able to be polite, not only to yourself, but also to it.
Yeah.
And it takes time for it to, go to the next neighborhood or then it comes back sometimes and you didn't know it was gonna come. So that's definitely like my personal relationship to it, but on a bigger scale, and why I'm like more fascinated in like, you know, investigating it as a creative. It's like, I mean, as Black people, we all have had to understand like our position within this country and like how we are at times being, um, not disadvantaged. I want to say like we're marginalized with the target on our back, and there are times whenever people are gone too soon
Hmm.
because of injustice. And as a young Black teenager, whenever Trayvon Martin happened, like
Hmm.
that really was like my second chapter to grief, where it's like I'm recognizing that unfair things happen, anything could
Yeah.
happen at any time. And it sucks that it could be little decisions, that take
Yeah.
away your right to live, but and it still happens now, but being able to have that responsibility as a storyteller to show people like this is how people process grief, and it doesn't look like these really melodramatic, sometimes negative depictions of Black people,
Hmm.
showing that real side where it's like sometimes it looks like a young girl wanting to go through a spiritual awakening to talk to her mom. You
Hmm.
know, just adding those nuances. Or there's a girl who feels a sense of loss because she wasn't able to dance, so she talks to God and
Yeah.
he's in the balcony. You know, like
Yep.
I want to create that type of world where we're able to acknowledge grief, we communicate about it, and we're able to see that there's an inner journey of healing, you know?
Yes. So I really could talk all day. This is just great stuff, and I could tell that you do this and like you understand who you are in the world. A lot of people don't know where they fit, right? And I know we're
Yeah.
all still learning. Each day we're growing closer to who we will become. But
Hmm.
I can tell that you're on that journey and you feel very cemented in
Yeah.
where you're going. So we have about 10 minutes, a little less than 10 minutes. That went by really quickly.
I
But I
know.
do want to talk about, I want to kind of hone in on Spirits Talk because
Yeah.
that's what the moment is right now. So I'll
Yeah.
let you have the floor and just tell us about that project, about where you are in the process and what you would like to share.
Awesome. Okay, so with Spirits Talk, this has been not only the passion project, but also like a calling card short film for me because I feel like it is an archival piece that represents where I am with my relationship to grief and the lessons that I've learned from the women in my life, whether it be my aunts, my mom, or from my grandmothers from above, like all of it's culminated into this film. It's about this young lady named Aya, who's a 20 something. She's grieving the loss of her adoptive mother, Mother Nikki, and she has to go into the spirit realm to have her final conversation with Mother Nikki. So she not only so she can maintain her ability to love herself and others. So yeah, so this project, it's been something that's I've I like had the idea conceived like maybe like 2 years ago,
Okay.
and then we made it almost a year ago, and now it's gonna have its world premiere September 21st.
Oh, yeah.
2026 at the Wofford Leonard Auditorium,
Oh,
3:30
yay.
p.m. until 5 p.m.
That's awesome. I've been like, one thing I love about you is that when you have something happening, you're truly the machine behind what you do. Like you're
Yes.
pushing it. You don't let your foot off the gas. And I know how hard it is to be in that space where when you have something you believe in, sometimes to feel kind of tired or just like discouraged. But I can't go on social media without seeing a post or like some content or where it's like, okay, filmmakers day off. Like you're always doing something, but I think for other people when they see that, they know it's like, okay, Yasmin believes in this. So let me shift my attention to this and see what this is. Because it doesn't seem what am I trying to say? It doesn't seem fake. You know how a lot of people not saying that other projects are fake in any way, but I'm saying a lot of people will push things for publicity. But I
Yeah.
feel like you really want to push it because you really want to tell your stories. You really
Yeah.
want your stories to be told and seen, right? I can see
Yeah.
that. I can
And I
see
really
that.
do appreciate that for real. Because, with you having your own platform now, it's so important for people to see what you're doing. Because, yeah, like I want to tell my stories and I want people to see what I'm doing. But also, it's really like, I just want people to witness like the different things that go into it, where it's
Yes.
like, yeah, because like if I, like, for example, if I made Spirits Talk and it only stayed on my hard drive, I'm discrediting like the 20 plus people that worked on my set, who gave me
Yep.
their time, who volunteered, the people who donated to that project, the South
Yep.
Carolina Arts Commission who helped me make that project possible. Shouts out to them. And shouts out to the tumbleweeds, okay?
Yes, yes, yes,
What's up,
tumbleweed.
tumbleweeds? But for real, like all of that, like I want, like this is just more of like my love letter to them anytime I'm like pushing it out because I'm just
Yep.
like it makes it like it takes a community to make these things happen. So anytime I'm reminding people like, hey, you should rewatch Girl Talks to God, that's me giving my flowers and tins to the people that helped me make that
Yes.
film possible. And you know, yeah, like it's just one of those things where people there, like even if it's like an idea. because like my mom, she gives me a lot of ideas when it comes to like, just life philosophy things, hence why Giant Mama Talk's a thing. But like that's why every now and then I'm like, yes, I made it in 2023, but you're gonna see it on your timeline in 2026.
Yes, yes, because you made it. You made it. And it's like that hard work does not go away because time has passed. Or
Yeah.
the message can hit differently for you now in the new space of life you're in or for someone else, you know?
Yes.
So it's like that's why the medium we're in is so beautiful because I can go home right now and watch Goodfellas and it still hits the same for me. And that's made
Yeah.
in the 80s. Well, I think it's no 1990.
Yeah,
1990.
yeah. It's the 90s.
Uh,
You good, you good.
but yes, so I want you to drop your social media tags for the people. And
hmm
wait, I was about to ask something else. What was it? What was it? No,
Okay.
okay, that's what I was about to say.
Oh, okay.
I wrote down the word force. Okay, I wrote down the word force because that's something that I always pray to God about that in I don't even like to focus on the word industry, but in life, I
Mhm.
really want whatever I touch in terms of art, whatever it may be, I want to be considered a force, like when I'm around people or to affect people in a positive way.
Yeah.
I think what you do is force work. Like just seeing all the work that you put in, even outside just that, I can tell that your heart is in what you do. And that's why I really wanted to have you on because I really admire you and all the work that you do. So
Oh,
just know
Portia. Oh my God. Because I'm just gonna like, well, we have the FaceTime, like, because obviously, like, I still think about your performance from Off Brands and like just remembered like how much of like you were a force in that movie,
thank you.
and you were such a strong presence. I'm like, I need her in one of my movies,
I want to, and I won't be pregnant the next time.
I'm screaming. It's okay. The baby had to come out. I'm glad that they are healthy. We are
Healthy.
happy. Woo, woo, woo. Yes, we love it. But for real, like, you're also a force and you're such a presence. And it doesn't feel like that long ago since we like crossed paths.
I
But like,
know.
but yeah, like and I appreciate you for acknowledging that because yeah, like my biggest pillar, even whenever I was that little girl doing the story books and stuff, like I've always wanted my stories to give hope.
Yes.
Because yeah, like that's the biggest thing. Because like I realize that it's not that people don't talk about it, it's just that it's harder to talk about it. It
Yes.
is a challenge because I realized like some of the feature scripts that I've written, like I'm talking more about like survival and talking about like the dangers of being perceived, but then I'm like challenging myself now with the next one that I'm like developing. I'm like, what does it look like whenever you do survive and you're just confused about who
Yes.
you are, or like
Oh,
you
and
don't know
that's
what to do
real.
next?
That's so real.
hmm
Because, like, we have 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes. Okay. We have
Okay.
2 minutes. Okay.
Oh, social media.
Do your social media. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I could go
You're
really
good.
long on that, but I
I
don't want it
know.
to cut you off.
That's okay. No, you're good. You're good. Hi, my name is Yasmin J. Lee. My social medias are for Instagram at snowycactus.ent. And then for TikTok, it's snowycactus.ent. And then I'm on Substack now, so you can look up Snowy Cactus Entertainment on there too. And then, of course, on YouTube, type in Snowy Cactus Entertainment, Yasmin J. Lee, and some of my stuff should pop up. And I would love for you guys to subscribe, follow, and tune in. Become a tumbleweed today.
Yasmin, thank you so, so much for doing this. I'm gonna follow up with you on Instagram, just as some closers and just some final remarks. But
Yeah.
thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.
Yay!